Well, we sold 34 spots at the event over Zoom in my dining room during a pandemic and ended up with a little over $1 million in sales that day. My very first $1 million day. And
welcome back to another episode of Business Rockstars. I'm Mark Lack, and joining us is our special guest of the day, Dan Henry. He is the man with the recent $1 million day, which we're going to talk about. He's the author of Digital Millionaire Secrets, and he's the founder of GetClients.com. Welcome to the show, brother.
hey, man, how you doing? It's been a long time since I've seen you.
Yeah, dude. It's unfortunate we're not in the Epic studio right now, but this will do because we had to get the wisdom and expertise out of you to share without waiting. So we'll do another recap coming up, but this will do for now.
Cool, man. I'm excited to be here in any way I can.
So I think first, because we left that open loop, first I want to talk about the $1 million day. Then I want to get into your story. So tell us, most people would be happy and grateful and appreciative to make $1 million in a year. You just did it in a single day. Tell us about that. How? You're young. Like, what's going on here? You knew Jeff Bezos or what, bro?
It ended up being, well, total, it was about, it was like $1,050,000. But the event that I did $1,020,000. And what it was is, I'll just explain it in a nutshell. I had a live event planned. You see, people buy my book, and then sometimes they want to get, after they buy my book, they decide they want to get in our coaching program. Well, everybody that was already in the coaching program, I included a 2-day live event when they bought the coaching program. And so it was all planned. And then this whole COVID thing hit and we couldn't do it. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm not waiting anymore because we pushed it back. I'll do it virtually. So couldn't go to the office. I had to do it from home. I went in my dining room, moved my dining room table, set up a whiteboard, set up a camera, set up Zoom, and we had about 160 people at that event. I taught for 2 days, just like I would have live. And then at the end, I made an offer to join my mastermind. And my mastermind, it's closer level of access, multiple events throughout the year, all that. And came with a $30,000 price tag. Well, we sold 34 spots at the event over Zoom in my dining room during a pandemic and ended up with a little over $1 million in sales that day. My very first $1 million day. And I thought I was going to make like maybe 300 because I think my best day to that point was like 150. I was like, oh, I'm going to double it. This is going to be great. And then he did over $1 million. I was blown away. I still don't believe it.
So let's talk about that, because I think there's a lesson in there, right? People are probably shocked. They're probably jealous. They're probably inspired. They're probably feeling all of those things. But let's give them some context. Like, why? You didn't just magically make $1 million in a day. You had the right offer, the right audience, the right time. So let's talk about that real quick before we get into your story. Like, what was it that allowed you to create such value to a small audience of just 160 people, you said, and you got whatever, 34 to convert? Like, that's amazing conversions at a high ticket. So what were the things that led up to you being able to do that so somebody else can learn to emulate that, like how they could have a 6-figure or 7-figure day?
Well, I always say you got to crawl before you walk. And
you've been doing this for years and years and years. This wasn't
yes. And it's not just that. It's that people pay, and don't get me wrong, my coaching program ain't cheap, right? But we have about, I don't know, maybe about 500 or 600 people in it. And the people that were on these calls were people that were already getting results. So they'd already got their investment back from my coaching program. They were already killing it. They wanted to get to the next level. It's very easy to say, give me 30 grand and I'll help you, when I've already helped, when you've already given somebody like say 5 or 10 and they've helped you and you've made a ton of money. Just to give you an example, there was one guy, and again, we focus on selling high ticket digital products, right? So if you have a course, coaching program, mastermind, that's what we help you sell, but we help you sell it for a premium price or convert a low ticket offer to a high ticket one and sell it over the phone. Well, I had more than one guy, but one guy in particular got the coaching program and ended up doing like $28,000 his first month. And so when the offer was made for the mastermind, he's like, well, you know, I'm, I,
Yeah.
I'm in. And then I had another dude who was from, didn't even speak English as a first language, got into the coaching program, never came on any of the coaching calls. I think he said he was nervous because English wasn't his first language, but he followed the program, did 65 grand his first month in the program, 65. So again, when I made the offer, he was like, of course, I'm in.
Yeah.
So
He's
the
already
thing
made the
about it
money.
is, yeah, the thing about it is don't think that I or anybody, and Mark, I'm sure you would agree, would say, "Oh, let me teach you how to do $1 million day. It's easy." It's you know, I've sold quite a few copies of this coaching program and spots in this coaching program, worked my butt off to get people results. My book is popular, et cetera, et cetera. And so when those people who were already getting results heard that offer, they already had the money because they made it from the coaching program. It was easy. But I don't think you can make $1 million in a day. Well, I don't want to say that because that's a limiting belief, but it would be a lot harder to make $1 million in a day if you're just starting out than if you were in the position I'm in. But that's not to say that you can't make, you know, a good chunk of money starting out, especially if you decide to sell a premium offer.
And so the lesson that I got is you've got to add so much value to somebody that if they give you $1 and you help them make two, then you could say, would you give me $2 and I'll help you make five? And then
Right.
you got up to the point where it's like, look, if these people already gave you 5 or 10 grand, and it sounds like many of the ones who followed your process were able to make 5 to 10 times their investment back, then it only makes sense that if you offered those same people, you know, give me 30 grand and I'll show you how to make a couple hundred grand. So that's the lesson, is like, no matter what value exchange you're doing, you need to provide higher level returns than the money that they initially gave you. And those were not total strangers. Those were people who have already worked with you, already invested with you, and have already gotten results with you. So that makes sense. So you weren't always the guy who's a multimillionaire young dude living in the mansion on the water over there in Florida. You know, you weren't always having $1 million days, and that's a new record for you, which is
Right.
a good record for anybody. Take us back to the beginning. I mean, you uploaded recently on social media a photo of you, kind of similar to the one that I have of me when I was young, and it gives people an idea that we obviously started from the bottom, so to speak. So take us back to there. Take us back to wherever you want in the beginning, either as a child or in high school or college. Um, you know, tell us the journey, the adversity. I want to hear the hero's journey here. You failed, you struggled, and then you became the guy with the $1 million day.
Absolutely. I was born, I came out and the doctor slapped me on the butt and said, here's $1 million. No, that's not what happened. So what happened was I was in college, and you may notice, I'm not sure if you're recording this for video or not, but you may notice in the background, I'm in a recording studio because I'm in one of my other properties up here in the sticks where I have a recording studio. I've
And by the
always,
way, halfway through, we're going to make you play the drums for us. So,
oh, I can play a little drums. I can play not great. I'm a guitar player, but I can play little drums. So I went to school for audio engineering. That's all the gear back here. So when I was in school, I was struggling to pay my way through school. And I was at a guitar center hanging out, playing guitars that I could never afford. And this guy was struggling to pick what microphone to buy, and I could just overhear him. And the dude at the counter didn't know what he was talking about. He was just some kid getting paid $10 an hour to work cash register. I had just taken introduction to recording in college. So I knew, even though I wasn't an expert, I knew a heck of a lot more than a rando that was just coming in wanting to record his song at home. So I said to him, I said, hey man, I can help you with this. You want to choose this mic and blah, blah, blah. And he was so impressed with the advice that he said to me, he goes, can I pay you $100 to come to my house and teach me how to use my home recording software? I said, sure. So I came to his house. And the funny thing about this was that day, I told my dad I was hooking up with a girl from the fashion department because I didn't want to admit to him that I didn't have enough money to drive home because the college was an hour away and I was in a Chevy Blazer and it ate gas like crazy. So I was going to sleep in my car and shower at the college gym like I had done several times. And my dad always thought I was out tearing it up, you know, tearing the streets up, and I wasn't. And so I get the $100. I'm so excited. So I go home because I had money now. I put gas in my car. I had food. And my dad goes, oh, what happened, you know, to the girl? I said, oh, she canceled. And he had to listen to a 20-minute lecture on rejection from my father. So, but it gave me the idea. And so I started posting on Craigslist and I said, hey, $50 an hour, I'll screen share with you over screen share, and I'll teach you how to use your home recording software. And so I paid my way through college doing that. And when I got out of college, I never really thought about it. I tried other businesses. I never really like thought about it, but I tried several businesses. I owned a bar. I owned an airbrush tattoo thing at one point. I traveled selling cotton candy at carnivals. I tried everything. And eventually I hit a rough patch, and I started to get back on my feet because I was doing like Facebook ads and digital agency stuff. Well, I get a letter from the IRS that said I owed 250 grand in taxes because I had never filed taxes, or
No
at
one,
least
no one likes getting those letters. No one ever likes those.
no, I did not like that letter. And I'm thinking, and I was making good money. I was making like maybe 15 grand a month with my digital agency. But I wasn't making enough to pay no $250,000. So I go, well, how am I going to do this? And I thought back to the money I made selling my advice. And with that $100 I made was the first time and I paid my way through college. That was money made just selling my advice. And, a few years before this, I tried to launch an online course, but I didn't know what I was doing. And so this time I decided, look, Mike Dillard, Russell Brunson, Amy Porter, like all these big names, Frank Kern, they were all getting rich online selling either masterminds, coaching, info products, online courses, stuff like that.
And how many years ago was this?
This was 4 or 5 years ago, I think.
Okay. Which was kind of around like the hot bubble of this whole like industry starting to get big, and the online internet entrepreneur millionaires, like laptop lifestyle. That was kind of very big. That was like right around the time I started my business too, was 7 years ago. And that was kind of I feel like the beginning where all of those names you mentioned were like big. They're still pretty big, but guys like us are starting to take over the industry now,
Yeah, we got the young blood now.
That's it.
But the thing about it was I'm like, all right, well, if these people are all making this much money doing this, then I got to try it again. So I tried it again, and I ended up pricing my product because I had a bunch of people asking me like, how are you running ads for local businesses? Like, how are you doing this? Like, can you teach me? So I created a $997 product, and I did a webinar.
$1,000?
Huh?
$1,000?
Yeah, $1,000, $997.
Just because some people might think $9.97.
Oh no.
I know the traditional 997.
Yeah, the traditional not. Well, back then it wasn't that traditional. Back then it was
that was the sweet spot number back then. No one knew that was like the 5-year run. Everyone would use that.
So I did it. I did a webinar, and I was like, all right, if I can sell 10 copies, I will make 10 grand. I'll send it to the IRS, and then I'll just keep doing it until I pay it off. Well, I didn't end up selling 10 copies. I didn't end up selling 5 copies. I didn't end up selling 1 copy. I ended up selling 48.
Wow. On like your first webinar.
On my first webinar. And then I did an encore, and I ended up selling 52.
Wow.
So
dude, I wish I started like that. I wish my first webinar crushed like that.
Yeah, I mean, well, I tried something that was, and I talk about it in my book. I tried something that I didn't really see a lot of other people doing, and it was just kind of an idea I had, and I didn't know if it would work or not, and it ended up working. It was sort of like, you remember the Ask method by Ryan Levesque?
Of course.
It's sort of like that, but like way condensed, like 5%. Like take that whole method, condense it down to the 5% that you need, and the other 90 you toss the other away, and you just do that. And I did that because that's a pretty long process, and I know Ryan, he's a great guy, but for me, man, I needed to pay this bill, and that was like really a long process.
Yeah.
And I needed to figure out a way to condense it. So I tried it out, it worked, and I ended up doing 100 grand my first month, and I'm like, holy crap. Now this is where it gets super interesting. You thought that was interesting. This is where it gets super interesting, right? Pay close attention to this, because this is what blew my mind. I thought, all right, every month I'm going to do one of these. I'll make 50 to 100 grand a month. I'll pay this off in no time. Well, the reason I wanted to take a 30-day break before I did it again was it's extremely exhausting doing launches. And I hate them because anything can go wrong, right? So I go, all right, well, I don't want to make no money while I'm waiting to do the next one. So let me just take the replay of my webinar, throw it into an auto webinar funnel, run some ads to it, see what happens. At least I can make a few, maybe I'll make 10 grand, whatever, it'll be fine. Well, 30 days goes by and we end up doing 150,000 in the next 30 days
And how
on
much did you have to
auto.
spend on ads? Just so people have
Um,
just so people have context of like
I would say I spent about, and keep in mind, this was back in the heyday. Okay.
when
I
ads were
probably spent
cheaper
about,
and
yeah, I probably spent about 30 grand.
okay, so it's good for people to know you spent 30,000 to make 150,000. So was it like as you saw it starting to work, you spent more money, or was it just like Hail Mary, drop 10, 20 grand on it, or was it like incremental like
No, well, that the first 100 grand was almost all organic. All
yeah.
right. But it was a hustle. Right. So when I started running ads, the sales started coming in and I was like, well, crap, I'm going to just spend more. And I just ended up spending about 30 grand.
Cuz every
Now
time you put a
now
dollar
today,
out, you
huh?
saw every time you put a dollar out, you saw more money come back. So you
Right.
just kept rinsing and repeating.
Right. Now today, uh, my instinct is today to say today you probably won't get that same return, but I actually have people in my program that have really unique offers that do get that return even today, but they do have a very good offer. If you're selling the same stuff everybody else is selling, you can still make a ton of money, but no, unless you sell high ticket, I don't think that same return is there as it was 5 years ago, but
Yeah.
still really good. And so at that point, I decided to become the master of automating sales. So I did that. We ended up making $8 million doing that. Then I met Alex Harmozy at FHL, which is Funnel Hacking Live, Russell Brunson's conference. And I'm talking shop with him, right? And he says to me, Dan, or I say to him, I said, hey, how's your ads doing? Because he was doing like 1 million a month or something, or 2 million a month. And I said, what's your return on ads? He's like, oh, we get about 20x. And I go, 20x? How are you doing 20x? And keep in mind, I considered myself very good at Facebook ads, considering
He's selling weight loss pills or something.
no, you sell, no. He sells Gym Launch, how to grow
Mm,
your gym.
Oh,
Okay.
right.
Well, I say to him, I say, hey man, how you doing this? Like that's crazy numbers. And he goes, oh, well, I don't really know how to run Facebook ads. I go, what? He goes, yeah, I mean, I know, but I don't really know. I'm not as good at it as you. I'm like, well, dude, you're crushing my numbers. What do you mean? He goes, oh, no. He's like, bro, he's like, my cheapest product is $16,000.
Mm,
That is why. He goes, it doesn't matter what I spend on ads. It doesn't matter if I have a $5 lead or a $15 lead. It's negligible on my P&L. And I go, whoa. And I am thinking about it, right? He goes, Dan, he goes, if your all your $5 leads uh, became $15 leads, how would that affect your business? And I said, well, it would take me from extremely profitable to the poorhouse. And he goes, right, exactly. He goes, that's why you don't sell, BS little 997 courses. You sell high ticket, you provide a premium service, a premium product, a premium experience for a premium price, and you get premium people. And from that moment on, I was like, holy crap. So, and this is where it gets super interesting. Again, gets super interesting, even more interesting. In February of 2019, I hit $1 million in a month selling a 997 product. I had 1,900 support tickets. I had a 12% refund rate. I had a 3% chargeback rate. And I had piracy. I had staff out the wazoo. It was a madhouse. When I switched to selling high ticket, means same type of marketing, but you just book a call and sell over the phone for a premium price. A year later, in February of 2020, we did 550,000 in that same month, but we had 30% higher profit than the year
mm.
before. Less customers, better customers, a much better program with multiple coaching calls, a much better experience. The people in that program made more money than the other program because even though they paid way more, they got a way better experience and way better help. And I had 423 support tickets, and 23 of them were for the new program. 400 were still left over from the other one. I had 0% refunds, 0% chargebacks, zero piracy, because people don't pirate stuff that they pay 5 or 10 grand for and then get on a call and sign a contract. They don't do that. And
Yep.
and I didn't need anywhere near as much staff. and life was just so much better. And so from that moment, I realized I needed to share this. And so I wrote this book all about it. And, and then we, fast forward to today, got the coaching program, did the event, made $1 million in a day. And, that's where I'm at. So that's the story.
I love it, dude. It's inspiring because it really shows people like where you started. You said you were sleeping in your car, working at Guitar Center, tried
No,
so.
I was chilling at Guitar Center. I didn't even have a
Oh
job
yeah,
at
you weren't
Guitar.
even working at Guitar Center. You were
No,
just chilling there.
I was going there because it was right next to the college. I went there to just play with guitars in between classes.
But then you landed a client there, which kind of like
Yeah.
sparked an aha moment, which is so cool. Let's talk though. Let's get into some of this strategy. People are thinking like, okay, so I got an idea of who this guy is. It makes it seem more relatable, down to earth, like they can do it too. So when you're teaching people how specifically, right, your main thing is helping people take an idea out of their head, turn it into a course, and find a way to
Course,
monetize that.
mastermind, coaching program, event, even a software.
So let's say somebody listening right now is like a beginner. Let's say they just joined your program. What is some of the first stuff that you help them with to get clarity on? You already have knowledge in your mind. You just haven't formulated it into an offer and been able to get it out there. So what does that first step go? I just signed up for your 10K or 30K thing, but I go, yo, I'm a beginner. I've got some knowledge or expertise, or maybe I have limiting beliefs. I don't even think I'm very smart or very good. How are you going to help me take the ideas out of my head and turn it into a course, a workshop, a mastermind, and turn it into an offer?
So the most important thing to understand, especially when you're a beginner, and this is why, a lot of times we get people who say, oh, Dan, I need to have an offer together first before I get in your program. And it's like, no, that's why you need to be in the program, because the most important part is the offer, right? You have to pick the right offer. So there are 3 things that make any sales presentation, any ad, any piece of marketing work. And that is your first one is your content. And that is what you say. Does it make sense what you're saying? Is what you're saying, the stories that you tell, the things that you say, does it make sense to the person listening? Number 2 is the performance. Are you saying it in a way, like, are you going, hey, everybody, welcome to today's webinar? Are you going, hey, everybody, welcome to today's webinar? Like, it's your performance, right? So if the content doesn't make sense, nobody's going to buy. If the content makes sense, but your performance is like, then nobody's going to be interested and nobody's going to buy. The final thing is your offer. Even if you have great content, you're good on camera, you perform it well, if your offer does not make sense to your audience, they will not buy. They'll be fans, but they won't buy. So the first thing we do is we help you craft what's called an RMS, or a refined marketing statement. And it's a very specific formula that allows you to know, to zero in on what your audience will just crave. They will just go nuts over. And it goes like this. I help audience. So let's say you're helping new moms, right? I help new moms and then get desire, get back to their pre-baby weight. Okay. So that's their desire without, and this is important, without old method. You have to identify something that they are currently trying to do, struggling with, want to avoid, or causes them pain. So I help audience get desire without old method through new method. And new method is a new strategy, a new technique, a new path or method that you teach. Now, keep in mind, and this is the part most people mess up on, is your product has no place in this statement yet. So I help audience get desire without old method through new method. Now, your product, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's a course, a coaching program, an event, a software, a freaking PDF, does not matter. Your offer is what helps them execute the new method easier, faster, or with help. So, for instance, let's say you wanted to sell, that you wanted to sell an app that allows people to track their intermittent fasting. So, and let's say your audience is new moms. I help new moms get back to their pre-baby body weight without crazy diets and exercise by doing intermittent fasting. And if they want to do intermittent fasting easier, they can buy my app, which allows them to easily track it. Or you just insert, they can buy my coaching program. They can buy my course. They can buy my event. They can buy whatever it is. That's the thing. whether you're marketing software, courses, coaching, masterminds, does not matter. The, the marketing and all that stuff that comes before it is the same. And so we first help them craft that. And we do that as well by teaching them how to research their audience and do what we call a whiteboard webinar. And I can get into that in a minute. But that right there is the first thing that we do.
Love it. So I love the simple formula. I'm somebody who's obsessed with frameworks, templates, and I'm like a person who just collects like, cards or collects anything. Like for me, it's collecting formulas, scripts, templates. My buddy, I think Sean Vossler. I've got his new book. He like gave it to me. It's not even out yet, and it's literally like 700 pages of like scripts and formulas. And so I love the one that you just said. I help blank get blank without blank by doing blank. It's just so simple. So, okay. So let's say that you've helped me figure that out. We can continue with the hypothetical example if you want to keep the narrative
Sure.
congruent with new moms or whatever, or you can shift gears. So I've got a clear idea of who my audience is. I've got a clear idea of what the desires that they have, that they're after. And I know the current method that they've maybe tried that didn't work, that they're not wanting to even consider again. And I have an idea of what my new method might be. And I'm assuming that's where the next step is. What is the new method? How am I going to create a new methodology? How am I going to create a new thing in the marketplace to serve them? Or at least how am I going to market it? How am I going to make it sound different, sound sexy? Because, a lot of the times you can sell the same thing, but you can market it differently.
Right.
Sometimes people sell a lesser product, but they market it better. So I'm assuming at this phase, you're going to help me either create my actual unique value proposition, my unique marketing. And so let's start there.
So some people already know what their new method is, and some people need help with it. And we help with all that. But what's important is to understand there is a process to figure this out. There are things you can do to test the market. You see, most people make this huge mistake, right? What they do is they decide that they're going to get into funnels and marketing, and they're going to build a funnel. They're going to spend weeks creating a course. They're going to spend weeks creating slides for their webinar, and they're going to do all this work. And
throw
then they're
tons of money at it
and hope for the best. That's insane. That is completely idiotic, in my opinion. Okay. You're basically gambling. So what we do is I teach them how to do a technique called the whiteboard webinar. All you need is a whiteboard. You get it $20 at Walmart or Amazon. You need a phone and you need a marker. Okay. I teach them how to quickly build a micro audience and then perform a whiteboard webinar where you map out, you are restricted. You can't use testimonials. You can't use slides. You can't use countdown timers. You can't use any of that. You're restricted to nothing more than a whiteboard. And what that does is it restricts you to your core concepts, your core, the things you are saying, the offer itself and the messaging.
Yeah, because there's no slides, there's nothing. There's a whiteboard with just bullet points on it.
Right. Because if it requires you to have slides and funnels and all that to sell your offer, and that's what it takes, then when you try to scale it, it's going to fall apart. If it doesn't sell with chains on your wrists, ankle weights on your ankles, it's not going to sell and be a sustainable business.
So here's my question then with that. So when I'm talking about my whiteboard webinar, my $20 whiteboard webinar, is my intention to pitch? Is my intention to enroll? Is my intention to beta test and case study at a discount and get the first 10 people who take action? All of the above?
So what you do is you do your pitch, you make an offer, right? And yes, we are looking to get people in at a discount, not too much of a discount, but a discount to see if they'll buy, get some early case studies. Because here's the thing. If people will buy on a whiteboard webinar, even if it's for a discount, if you get several people to buy, now what you do is you get them in, and over the next couple of weeks, you teach your curriculum live to them in a group setting, or you can do one-on-one. And what happens is you now begin to learn how to teach. And we have frameworks and processes for all of this, okay? But you begin to learn how to teach and learn how to create a refined program. And then once you do your beta, you do three things. You validate your offer and your marketing. with ankle weights on, so that when you really do the actual funnels, it's going to sing. You make some initial capital so that you have money to spend on those things, like those softwares that you need. You learn how to teach by working with your initial group of students, getting them results. And actually, there's a fourth thing: you get early case studies and testimonials that you can use in your refined webinar. And when we do this, here our clients, our people in our coaching program, they make a bunch of money at once. Like, for instance, I told you the guy Tin, who he got my program, he made 65 grand doing this exact thing, and he sold a course on how to take pictures of birds. It was a course on how to take outdoor action photography of birds that were flying in the air. The most obscure, weirdest thing, that you would think, oh no, it's how to lose weight, how to make weight. No, it's how to take pictures of birds. Made 65 grand. And then he taught that over the next couple of weeks, refined it, and then launched it into a regular program. Okay. Now, when you do that, if you intend to sell low ticket, because we help people that do low and high ticket. If you intend to sell low ticket, you do the process, you send them to an order page. If you intend to sell high ticket, you tell them to book a call and you practice selling over the phone. And again, what this does is it doesn't put the pressure on you to have all this crazy software set up. You're going to validate your offer first, and it literally takes nothing more than a phone and a whiteboard. And here's the beautiful part. Let's say you don't sell anything. You now don't have anything to fulfill. You don't have to create anything. You go back to the drawing board, you fix your messaging, and you keep doing that whiteboard webinar until it works. I've had people fail 4 and 5 times, adjust it, and on their 6th time make a crap ton of money, and now they have a business. That's the thing. It's a systematic process to get you to where you need to be without wasting time, without creating all these assets that nobody wants. You're going to make sure people want them first, and you're going to make them good, because that's the thing. That's the most important thing, is creating a great product. Another thing we help with is product creation and fulfillment. So that right there is one of the biggest things that we help people do after they decide. And keep in mind, your RMS could change and refine during the course of you doing this process. I believe frameworks are great, but all frameworks, all techniques need refinement, and they will adjust and be tweaked as you go. And that's the process that we help with.
One of my favorite things that you said was to test before you go all in. And I
Right.
believe in the entrepreneur space, so many people think they have to go all in. That's like,
Yeah.
well, if I'm doing this, I got to go all in. And it's like, okay, well, you can go all in on your goals. You can go all in on yourself, but that doesn't mean you have to go all in on building an offer and a webinar and a marketing and a business before you've even tested if the market wants that. So that's something that I love that you said, because so many people make that mistake early on, is they think that they need to build it and then people will come. But in reality, I think you have to sell it and then build it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's more ethical that way, because if you build it, you don't know if it's good. If you
Yeah.
sell it, then you teach it live, you can make it good in real time, and by getting feedback. It's kind of like, a lot of people think they can brute force their way into this industry. And it's kind of like if you're going to the gym and you're like, oh, I'm going to do my 1 rep max every week, and I'm just going to lift heavy as possible. And then you tear your shoulder and your rotator cuff's messed up and you can't lift it all for months. So it's like, you may think, oh, I'm going to build it all out, and I'm going to do it. There's a difference between being a hardworking entrepreneur and being a smart entrepreneur. And if you work that hard, then you should work hard enough to realize that you have to be smart and you can't just bulldoze your way through.
Facts, dude. And so I know we're on a time schedule here, so I don't want to go too far over, but obviously people are probably thinking, I want to know where I can follow this guy. I want to know, how do I get the Digital Millionaire Secrets book? Because that's the easy no-brainer for everybody to start with. And then maybe even people are interested in having you help them with launching a course, taking their idea, or even helping them scale their business. So, is there one central place, or are there 2 places that we can send people if they're interested in getting your book or learning more about you and following you?
Sure. So if you want to get this book, it's free. You just got to cover shipping. Okay. The book is free. And it has a ton of information on what we talked about today, including my 30 days to 100K blueprint. It's a step-by-step, day-by-day blueprint to how I did that 100K in my first 30 days. So this right here is free. Just pay for shipping. You can go to getclients.com/lack. How about that?
Cool.
Getclients.com/LACH. And that will direct to a page where you can get this book for free. And then, Mark, I can also, if you have show notes, I can leave some links if they want to look at some of our programs.
Yeah.
But I would definitely start with the book. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's just @DanHenry. I'm always posting cool stuff on there. But go to getclients.com/lack, and that will get you a copy of this book.
Cool. Appreciate you, brother. Everybody go get a copy of that book. It is a no-brainer. We've already sent it out to our community, but we'll be sending it out again with attachment to this interview here. So appreciate you, brother. Everybody go follow Dan. Literally get a copy of his book. It's one of the top books in the space right now if you want to know how you can start making money online. I've heard so many good things from the people in our community who bought it when we promoted it. So I can't wait for everybody to see this interview. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to be notified when we upload future videos. And also, if you're interested in learning how to leverage your personal brand to make money online and grow your business, we filmed a free masterclass you can watch. It's in the link in the description below. But nonetheless, I'll see you guys in our next video.